Okay, so we're in Tesla puts here on this Bearplane setup. We still don't have 5-minute velocity confirmation, but I think it's coming in the next minute here. Not the tightest triggers, but I do like the fact that this is the first Bearplane after price breaks the hourly trigger, and I do like this hourly velocity confirmation. Pretty strong to the downside here. If we get another push, I'll sell a little bit more and just hold the rest until 5-minute velocity stops decreasing. I'm selling a little bit more there. So pretty nice play here. I didn't think this would move too much, but I guess I was wrong. I kind of was hoping for price to try to revisit the 5-minute trigger a little bit more before closing back below the 1-minute trigger. And for the triggers to cluster together a little bit more, but not bad. We're moving pretty nicely here. Good chance this probably wants to come up and tap the 1-minute trigger here before going back down, but if we get another push, I'm selling the rest. I'm not looking to hold this here just because the indices are pretty extended and everything, the rest of the market looks pretty choppy. Okay, I think I'll take that. Not bad. So I thought I was gonna get stopped out up here. I thought this was gonna come back up and close above the 1-minute trigger, but 5-minute velocity told us that this should get rejected. We kept decreasing pretty nicely here. I could have stayed in, but not looking for a big move there, just because, like I said, indices look pretty choppy. The rest of the market looks pretty choppy, and everything's pretty extended from their hourly triggers. So this here was a very slight decrease, and in my opinion, it would be a very good point to exit your position, right? Because there's a good chance probably the next print won't see much of a decrease, if at all. But yeah, this is a very good exit point here with this print. The other thing that could work as an exit, as a signal for an exit when it comes to triggers, are 1-minute velocity divergences, which it just formed right here. Right, so this is the lowest 1-minute velocity print. With this low here, price is making a new low right now, but it's not necessarily giving us a new 1-minute velocity print that's greater than this one to the downside. So that's also a very good signal to get out. But as you can see, it keeps your stop loss pretty tight here because we didn't have any candle closes back above the 1-minute trigger. This does tend to happen a lot, where price hangs around the 1-minute trigger for a few minutes maybe before we get the push down. But a lot of the times what you get is a candle like this, either first or second candle in, that accelerates to the downside on a Bearplane setup. But yeah, not bad here. So this here is my point exactly, right? So 5-minute velocity stopped decreasing, and that's when price just so happened to try to come back up and mount back above the 1-minute trigger, which at that point this position is basically almost back to break even. But that's why it's important to take profits on the way down and then fully exit a position either when you get 1-minute divergences, which we saw here, and it just so happens to coincide with the largest 5-minute velocity print to the downside here. But as soon as we got this 5-minute velocity print, would have been the perfect time to cut the position, just because the decrease was very slight here, whereas these basically suggested to stay in the position. Okay, so I have my eye on SPY here for a Bearplane. There's a good chance it could get the close back below the 1-minute trigger for an entry. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that, of course, that we are very extended from the hourly trigger here, so I would not look for a big move. And I, of course, would prefer to have 5-minute velocity confirmation with this, which it did kind of decrease here. This might be worth an entry right here. I'm probably going to take this with small size. Okay, so we did just get 5-minute velocity confirmation to the downside. Not the most ideal print, but I mean, it is confirmation. I would have preferred to see it decrease more significantly. Let's see if we get a close back below the 1-minute trigger, or if this invalidates and gets a trigger cross up, then chances would be that price would want to revisit the hourly trigger at some point today. I guess we'll give this a shot right here. I'm not gonna look for a big move. All right, I'm gonna sell some there. And I'll honestly probably just sell the rest if we get another nice push here. I really don't like how extended we are from the hourly trigger. So what I liked about this is the fact that the 1 and the 5-minute trigger are pretty clustered here for an entry, and that keeps your stops very, very small. But even the 5-minute velocity confirmation to the downside wasn't so significant here. So we do get the next 5-minute velocity print in the next 2 minutes, so I guess I'll wait to see what that is first, if in case we don't get another push. But if we get another push, I'm selling the rest of the position. This is confirmation. This is a pretty significant decrease here. That's kind of what I wanted to see to begin with. And if we break the low, I'll just sell the rest of the contracts. Okay, I'm gonna take this off. Taking it off. All right, took that off just because, like I said, I kind of just wanted to prove a point there as far as how significant 5-minute velocity is when it comes to scalping. But I'm really just breaking one of my own rules here by trading when we're this extended from the hourly trigger. 1.3% away from the hourly trigger just means that if you do get a plane setup, chances are you're not going to see a lot more downside or upside, depending on if it's obviously a Bearplane or an airplane setup. But yeah, not bad. Little tiny scalp there for a nice, whatever that was. I think it was like a 20% move, but not bad.